Two guys not related, yet somehow are given the same name. It's time for the Two Daves podcast, where we'll answer the age-old question, are two Daves better than one? And now, here's Dave and Dave.
That's right. You made it once again to the Two Daves podcast, where people are asking themselves the question, Dave who? Hey, I'm Dave.
And I'm the other Dave, and this ain't tacos. Please don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. And again, like we always say, with your enemies, if you like. We're building the Two Dave Nation and invite you to be part of this fun-filled journey. Now, Dave, Another episode. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, good. So let me ask you, do you like going to the doctor's office or the dentist? Do you like that?
Well, it's my second favorite thing right after trimming my fingernails with a chainsaw.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, really. Oh. Yeah. I mean, I hate going to a doctor.
I think the only doctor I like is the eye doctor.
I don't even like that. I don't like when they blow when they do that glaucoma test and they blow that air into your eye. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, I just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway.
I do appreciate the doctors. I do appreciate the dentists, and I appreciate the surgeons that have done surgeries in my life. So I'm not saying I hate them. I just hate going to those places. Exactly.
And I'm sure that there are a lot of doctors and dentists that hate going to church. So
that's great. That is funny. That is funny.
Tonight we thought it would be fun to talk about strange medical conditions, and unfortunately we're going to be the examples of a couple of them. But because when you get to be as old as we are, it's amazing how much we begin to talk about our health with other people.
That's right, Dave. And before we go there, I wanted to have fun. We like our opening stuff, so have fun with a few doctor jokes.
Yes.
We might think they're funny to us. You don't have to laugh along, okay? It's not a laugh along thing. So, but anyway,
sure they won't.
Well, let's go over. We have 4, right? Is that right? Do we have 4 tonight? Okay, just 4.
Know.
Okay.
All right. I'll take the first one. Okay.
All right.
Doctor says you are very sick. The patient says, "Can I get a second opinion?" Yes, of course. You're very ugly too. That's an old one, but a good one.
It is a good one. How many times have you been told you're ugly, Dave?
Oh, many times. And that's just by my wife today.
I was going to agree the same thing. If my dog could say it, she would. So, okay, here's another one. Patient said, huh?
Okay.
Oh, okay. Patient says, my hearing's gone. I need to go to the hearing doctor. Okay. Patient says, yeah, I know. Patient says, someone decided to graffiti my house last night. And the doctor said, so why are you telling me? And the patient looked back at the doctor and said, well, I can't understand the writing. Was it you?
That's great, isn't it? Yeah.
That is funny.
Doctor says, I'm afraid you're dying and you don't have much time. Patient says, oh, no, that's terrible. How long have I got? Doctor says, 10. Patient says, 10 what? 10 months, weeks, what? He says, 10, 9, 8, 7.
You got to laugh, people. You just got to laugh.
Just got to laugh, yep.
The last one, what we have. What do you call a student that got C's all the way through med school? Hopefully not your doctor.
Yeah, truly. Well, we once again did some research on some strange items that surgeons have removed from people's bodies. This is our research team that we hired, and they did some research on strange items that surgeons have removed from people's bodies. And this hopefully will be entertaining for you, unless it's actually happened to you. Then instead of laughing with you, we'll just laugh at you, okay?
That's true. Okay, I'll begin. In January of 2004, Dave, in a hospital in Hong Kong, a 50-year-old man had been...
Hong Kong Fooey, the number one super guy. Okay, sorry.
You have to be over 50 to know that. Okay.
Yeah,
so A 50-year-old man had been admitted for stomach pains. An X-ray showed the outline of a 20-inch eel, which the man admitted somehow into his rectum to relieve his constipation.
Oh my goodness.
It's unknown why he thought that would help. It just added more pain for the man. The eel was removed, and remarkably, the eel was still alive.
Wow.
The doctor famously called this the rectal eel issue. And you might say, why did he name this? Because, believe it or not, others have done the same thing.
Oh my goodness. Folks, I don't know where you get your medical information, but if you're constipated, try X-Lax. Do not get an eel and stick it where the sun don't shine, please.
Hey, Dave, you want to go fishing? I'm not feeling very well.
All right, now here's another one.
Okay.
Pica or pica, I'm not sure. Is it pica? It's a term used to describe the need for some people to eat inedible things. You've perhaps seen this on, people's strange addictions on TV shows or whatever. But in 2016, a 42-year-old man was admitted to the hospital for stomach pains. Well, come to find out, he'd swallowed exactly 40 pocket knives. All were 7 inches long. Some were folded shut and others were open. The man said it had taken him 2 months to eat them, and he told the physician that he had an incredible craving for knives. Wow. Wow.
I feel sorry for the man.
You know what? I crave chocolate, but sometimes I just say, I don't need any tonight.
I'm hungry for knives.
I'm hungry for knives. Wow.
Well, I hope he doesn't go into a hardware store very soon, because those nails are probably looking pretty good right now too. So,
oh my goodness.
Well, okay. In 2014, a man from Australia.
Good night, mate.
Yes. I don't know if this was a good day for him. He awoke in the middle of the night with a severe pain in his ear.
Oh, who hasn't done that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So he had figured that some kind of bug had crawled inside his ear. So what else are you going to do but grab your vacuum cleaner? And he tried for several minutes to suck the bug out of his ear. I mean, yeah, that sounds right. Whenever I get wax in my ear, that's what I do. What about you, Dave?
Yeah, really.
To no avail, he went to the hospital where the doctor used forceps to retrieve a little over a 1-inch cockroach, and he fully recovered.
Man, that'll give you the heebie-jeebies, won't it?
Oh man, these are some stories, huh?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, here's another one. In 2010, a 75-year-old Cape Cod man had been struggling with his breathing. Okay, well, he thought maybe he had lung cancer or something, so he went to the doctor. And after several x-rays and body scans, the doctor revealed that what the man had in his lungs was not a malignancy, but it was a small pea plant growing. Yeah. And so after he was treated, the man went out to eat and he ordered a side of peas and he laughed at himself. The Boston TV reporter laughed as well.
How? Well, okay, so he probably somehow had to suck a pea seed down his lung somehow.
But I don't know how that happened. I don't know. He had to have. Yeah.
Man alive. That's crazy. Okay. A North Carolina man had been plagued with chronic coughing and fatigue for 2 years before the doctor discovered a fast food plastic fork was stuck on the outside of his lung.
Oh.
The doctor could actually read what it said on the x-rays on the fork, which it read hamburgers. That was from Wendy's Old Fashioned Hamburgers restaurant that used to have that on there. I don't know if it still does. It was removed and recovered.
Well, praise the Lord. I'm glad he recovered. That's good. Wow.
No, wait. Aren't we getting away from something. How did that fork get inside of him?
Yeah, I can understand if it got in your stomach because, those forks are pretty fragile, I mean, let's face it, it's pretty easy to accidentally break one off and maybe swallow a tine. But on the outside of your lung, I don't understand. Yeah.
I don't either. That is weird stuff right there.
Well, Dave, have you ever taken anything weird or strange out of your kid's nose or ear?
I should have asked my wife this question. I know that we took out of our oldest son's nose like he had shoved hard beans up his nose.
Beans.
We were teaching him to count that day. I don't know, but he got him stuck. So I think we had to take him to the doctor because I think my wife tried and it didn't work, and she was panicking, or I was panicking. And I'm trying to think of anything else. No. What about you?
No. We did have I got a friend who actually served with me as an intern for a few years. And when he was a little kid, he got a bee stuck in his ear. No, it wasn't a bee. It was a cricket. Anyway, either way, it's bad. But his hearing is adversely affected. The ear that cricket was in, he can't hear out of his ear now. So,
man, that's wild.
I think Brad is probably listening to this. So, Brad, if I got that wrong, you just get on our website or on our Facebook page, and you tell us the real story. Okay.
I got to tell you this, Brad. I'm kind of in your boat, and not that way, but I was probably 20 years old. We were upstairs in our church and working on some kind of, I don't know, something for youth group. And I sat back and I yawned, and this guy, Craig, he knows who he is, threw a penny from a distance, and it went into my mouth to the back of my tongue, and I panicked and swallowed the stupid penny. I was a mess. I never went to the doctor. Hopefully I passed it. If not, I mean, that's no longer a copper penny then. So
the doctors were watching, and somebody said, "How is he?" And he said, "Well, no change yet."
No, that's right. Or he said, "Penny for your thoughts."
I tell you what, Craig is a good shot, though. That's great.
I was so mad at him.
Oh my. Well, hey,
yeah.
Dave, on a kind of on a serious note, I texted you the other day and said, "Hey, I'd like to talk about this because it was 20 years ago this week that I went through a very strange medical condition, and I thought about it a lot because not just the 20th anniversary, but I remember the weather was a lot like it is now. It was very bitterly cold and a lot of snow, and the flu was going around rampantly, as of course it does every year. And I got the flu, and I was not in ministry at the time. I was in between churches, and we were running a motel in a little town in Iowa. And on the side, I was also working at a grocery store, Hy-Vee grocery store, right across the street, actually, from the motel. And so I wasn't getting any, I didn't have full-time benefits or anything like that. So I wasn't getting any sick time. And what I'm about to say is probably going to make somebody mad, and it should, okay, because I did wrong. But first of all, let me just say that I don't catch anything as an adult. I do not, when things go around, it can hit everybody in my house, and I come through unscathed. And I think it's because when I was a kid, I was really sickly. I did catch everything when I was a kid. And I think somehow that built up my immune system, because now I just don't catch things. But there are some exceptions, and I got it that time. And one of the things, kind of my MO to do, is if I start to feel bad, like if I get a scratchy throat or, a cough or something like that, or start to feel aches, I just say, I'm not going to be sick. I'm not going to do this. I can't afford to be sick. I'm going to work through it. And 9 times out of 10, it's very successful. I get up in the morning, I don't feel well. And instead of calling in sick, I just soldier through it. And normally by noon, I'm fine. And that day I decided that I was going to do the exact same thing. But I was not fine. I was running a fever, had aches and pains, and I know I was terrible for going to work and infecting everybody that I came into contact with, but I was young and stupid. Okay.
Did you have COVID?
Really, it could have been, who knows? It was obviously an influenza that was going around. I found that later, but so I worked all day, and I should not have done it because I needed the rest, and it only wore my body down so that it got worse. And believe me, it got worse. The next day, that was a Friday. It was actually the 2nd of February. The next day, I could not go to work. I could not get up out of bed. I was so sick, Dave. I had a high fever. I was, vomiting, all the stuff that you do with flu. And my fever was so high that I was dreaming, or I was hallucinating. I'm telling you, I was seeing things that the line between reality and hallucination was very blurred. Everything was hazy anyway, so I wasn't sure what was actually happening and what I was just seeing. But my grandpa walked into my bedroom. My grandpa had passed away 6.5 years before. He was a godly man, loved the Lord, was a pastor. And he walked into my room, and I said, Grandpa, what are you doing here? I didn't say, you've been dead for 6.5 years. I said, Grandpa, I'm really sick. You probably shouldn't be in my room. And he said, I've come to get you. I've come to take you home. And I said, I am home. I am home. I'm fine right here. And he said, well, if you mean that, then I'll go ahead and leave. And then he was gone. And sometime later, there was a little boy who came into my room, and he sat down. I mean, he sat down at the foot of my bed. And he said, and my oldest daughter, Jessica, she was a second grader at the time. So this little boy is about her age. He said, I've come to play with your daughter. And I said, well, I don't know where she is. I'm ill. You should not be up here. You should probably go. So I didn't recognize him. I'd never seen him in, one of her classmates. And he says, I said, I'm just very sick. He says, oh, that's okay. I had what you had when I lived in this house. And then he was gone. Just strange. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. But again, that line was so blurred. My mother-in-law came in at one time and yelled up the stairs to see if I was doing okay. And I didn't know if I was dreaming it, hearing things, or what. So I didn't answer her. And come to find out, she did tell me that she did confirm that she was there. But
were you having high fever at this time, Dave?
Yeah, high fever.
Like how high did you have?
105.
That's high, Dave.
Yeah, it was high. But after the weekend, I was fine. That was Saturday. By Sunday night, I felt great. And so I'm going to work tomorrow morning. So I set my alarm, and I got up, and when I woke up, I noticed that my left hand was numb. Kind of like if you've ever slept on your hand or whatever, when you wake up and it's got the tingly sensation. Yeah. So I thought it was just asleep. And what do you do when your hand's asleep? You kind of trying to shake it, trying to get the blood to circulate. I'm telling you what, I did that all day long. And my hand was just asleep. And I thought, well, that's strange. When Tuesday morning I woke up, and not only my left hand was numb and tingly, but my right hand was as well. Wow. Now the first, Monday I was annoyed because I'm right-handed, so I didn't really need my left hand anyway, but it was just annoying. It was just nagging. But now, when you have both hands and you work at a grocery store and both hands are numb, it's really hard to get your work done. Yeah. So I said something to my wife. I said something to Nita, and she says, well, it sounds like you probably have a pinched nerve. You need to go see a chiropractor. Well, this goes back to our earlier conversation. I don't like doctors. I don't like chiropractors. Please, if you're in chiropractic medicine, God bless you. I've been to chiropractors. You do a wonderful job, but I don't like to be touched. Okay. I'm just, this social distancing thing because of COVID, people call it a plandemic. It is. I planned it because it's great. I don't have to hug anybody. I don't have to shake anybody's hand. But anyway, so she says, you need to go to a chiropractor. And I'm going, I think I can live with it. I think I can deal with this. And so that was Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, I woke up, and not only were my hands numb, but my left foot was now numb. Now something's really weird. And Thursday, believe it or not, now it's both hands and both feet are numb. And I thought that this is just strange. And But then when I woke up Friday morning, the numbness was still there, but it had changed. And now I was weak. My muscles had been affected to the point where it was difficult to function. It was difficult to put my shoes on. It was difficult to walk across the street to go to work that morning. And then I started to get worried. I knew that something was wrong. And I had to get up on a step ladder to reach the top shelf of something. I fell off the step ladder. And I said, all right, it's time to call a doctor. Something's bad if I'm going to have to call a doctor,
Yeah.
So I remember going up the stairs. This was before cell phones, So I remember crawling up the stairs to the break room with using both hands to pull myself along on the handrail because I just couldn't climb the stairs. And I got to the phone. I called Nita. I said, you need to call the doctor. And of course, she's like, what's going on? And I told her, and she said, I'll get you in the doctor. And I got into the physician, and he said, I know what this is, but he said, I'm not qualified to diagnose it. He said, I'm going to send you to a neurologist in Omaha. And so he got on the phone with her, and he comes back in. He says, she has agreed that we will not have to send you in an ambulance as long as you promise to go ahead and get there right away. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. So I said, yeah, we can do that. So we got together. And of course, we had 3 little kids at home that Nita had to get them taken care of. Got in the van, told my mom what was going on. She insisted that she goes with us, And so we didn't get away quite as soon as maybe we should have. But we drove up there, and on the way, I was listening to some CDs, and we talked in an earlier episode about our love for Southern gospel music.
Yeah.
I was listening to a CD by Gold City, and there's a song it says, he's in time, on time, every time for me. And I was really nervous until I heard that song, and God used that song. And it's not even a ballad or anything. It's a real fast moving song, and everything, but God used that to just really bring peace into my heart. So that when we got to the emergency room at Bergen Mercy Hospital in Omaha, I was just not scared. I was just doing fine, And we walked in, and this neurologist came to us, and I got to tell you, she was a piece of work. She was very good, but she knew it,
Yeah.
Have you ever known people who are good in their field and they know it? She was really arrogant and no bedside manner. And she says, I'm not impressed with how long it took you to get up here. Sorry. And she did all of her tests and everything like that. And she says, all right, well, the next thing that we have to do is I'm going to stick a needle into your spine. I'm going to pull out some fluid. There's nothing about that sentence, Dave, that excites me at all. There is nothing about needle in the spine and pulling out fluid that makes me want to say, yeah, well, all right, let's do that. Especially when she said, but first you're going to have to sign because there are risks involved. I mean, you could be paralyzed and so on and so forth. And I just said, okay,
Wow.
All right, we're just stopping right here. I said, we're not going to do that. I don't like needles. I don't want anybody touching my spine. Just find out what this is and get it taken care of. And she said, sir, you don't understand. What this is probably going to kill you tonight. And we have to get it taken care of, and we need to get it treated before it does kill you.
What?
Okay. So I think maybe I'll sign that. My wife was sitting there, and she heard this, and I looked at her, and she, for the first time, saw fear in my eyes. And she got up, and she walked out of the room. Now, I thought maybe she was going out to have a cry or to scream. She did not. She got up, she went out to the waiting room where my mother was, and she told her what the situation was. She says, we've got to get on the phone. Yep. We got to get people praying. And again, this is before cell phones. Mm-hmm. You were one of the people that she called.
That's right. I remember this.
Literally from all across the nation, from New York to Washington State, they were calling friends and saying, pray, 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 pray. There was a youth convention going on in Iowa with 1,200 students. And Mark Oberbeck, we had him on earlier. He led those kids in praying for me. Okay. And so she did the shot in the back and everything. And she comes back in and she says, it's just as I suspected. You have Guillain-Barre Syndrome. Now, this is a rare disorder, and a lot of people pronounce it incorrectly. They pronounce it Guillain-Barre. So if you're listening to this and you go, oh yeah, Guillain-Barre, it's actually Guillain-Barre, named after two Frenchmen. And it's basically, it's kind of like a mutant virus that attacks your nervous system. Normally a mutant flu virus, whether you've had the flu really badly, or some people have the flu shot and get it as a result of that. But obviously I had a bad case of the flu, and it attacks your nervous system, and it starts with your sensory nerves. That's why I couldn't feel anything. And then it attacks your motor nerves. That's why I got weak. And it starts in your extremities, and then it moves in. And eventually, if it moves far enough, it reaches your vital organs and shuts them down. And she says, Mr. Pugh, this is moving very rapidly in your body. Normally, it takes 2 weeks for symptoms to occur. It had taken 5 days for this to happen. She says it's going to reach your vital organs tonight and shut everything down. We're going to have to put you into intensive care, and we may have to do plasmapheresis, which is, if you know what that is they were going to take the blood out of my body and clean it. And I know people say you can't take your blood out of your body, but they hook it up to a pump and take it, clean it, put it back in. So it's kind of it's a cycle thing,
like a filter type of thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And she says, and then we'll see where we are in the morning. Well, she admitted me in the hospital. And the next morning, I got a call from you. You were pastoring in Kansas. We were switched. I was living in Iowa and you were living in Kansas.
I just moved to Kansas.
Yeah. You hadn't been there very long at all.
Right.
But you would, and you were definitely, you're my best friend. And so you called. I had a pastor friend, and Pastor Sean Oberg, you know who you are. You came to see me in the hospital, and I had another friend there. And of course my wife was there, and everybody was kind of there when the neurologist walked in, and she says, I don't understand it. And I love it when a doctor says, I don't understand. She says, I don't understand this, but this morning your spinal fluid is clear and we're going to send you home. You don't have Guillain-Barre syndrome anymore. And I said, you know what, doctor? I said, there's been a lot of people praying. She says, I don't want to hear it. All I want to tell you is I made a correct diagnosis and now you don't have it. And that's just really bothering me. So she sent me home that day, on that Saturday. And the problem is, even though I didn't have GBS, I still had all of the symptoms. I couldn't walk without a cane, very immobile. My precious wife had to go and take my hours at the grocery store. They graciously let her come and work for me. So I had to run the front desk at the motel. We had a lot of snow that year. I couldn't go out and move it. She had to come and scoop the snow when she was done with work. And I had to sit there like a lump and watch her out the window doing my work. It was a very, very tough thing. So I started battling depression and everything throughout all this. And finally, one night I told God, I said, God, this isn't fair. I said, if I had evidence that I had GBS, I could get disability. But now that you've taken away the evidence out of my body, now I'm still sick, but I can't even receive disability. I said, you are not the God who goes halfway. You're the God who finishes the work. And I said, right. I need a complete healing. And I'll tell you what, Dave, that was at bedtime that night. And when I woke up the next morning, I wasn't 100% better, but I'll tell you what, I was 90% better. I could walk, I had mobility, I could feel things. And when I went back for the follow-up visit with the neurologist, she says, this is just an amazing recovery. I just can't imagine. And she says, do you have any questions? And I said, well, I do have one question. I said, will I be able to play piano? And she says, well, I don't see why not. And I said, good, because I've never been able to do it before. and you know,
did she laugh?
She did not. She was not in one bit impressed. She said, is there something wrong with your thinker? But but 20 years later, Dave, 20 years later, I can walk, I can run. I don't like to run, but I can if I have to. And I mean, there's some residual problems when the weather changes and everything. I feel it in my legs, but I'm telling you what, God touched me. And if you're listening, I know that not everybody necessarily believes in healing. And I'm telling you what, I'm not talking about doctrine. I'm talking about what happened to this guy. Medically documented that it wasn't supposed to happen this way, but God. And I'm very thankful. And I just pray, if there's anybody out there who you're going through a situation in your life that is tough and there's no way out, I just want to pray for you. And matter of fact, we weren't even planning to do this, but can we do that right now? Can I just
Let's do it?
Pray?
Yes.
God, I just pray right now for anybody who's listening to this podcast and going through a real rough time in their life, and maybe things seem impossible. It could be a physical issue, could be a financial issue, could be a relationship issue. I don't know what it is, but it's really impossible. And God, I speak to the one that I know, not only from the Bible, but from personal experience, as the God of the impossible. And I pray, Lord, that you would minister right now on behalf of that man, that woman, that young person. I pray, oh God, that you would meet them right where they are and that you would do the impossible in their lives. And I thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
What a great story. I mean, thanks for sharing that, because that's the incredible healing power of Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And you have stories.
You know, here's something, Dave. You had the story of you had the syndrome. It could have killed you. It could have taken you, and God healed you. And on my side, I think we have to see God's going to do things how He wants to do it.
Yeah, right.
And so for me, my strange medical condition, and it's not even close to like, well, let me just explain here, is that sometimes God uses the medical field to bring the healing in your body.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though you've been praying for healing, here's the thing. If you believe in God's will for your life, then you believe that he knows best. Could he take all this stuff away? Sure he could, but sometimes we go through things. He allows us to go through things. It doesn't mean that he brings this on us, but he allows us to go through this. My condition, Dave, it's called a hyperparathyroidism. It was a tumor about the size of my thumb, in not the thyroid, but behind the thyroid is parathyroids.
Okay.
They're the ones that control the calcium in your body.
Huh. All right.
Calcium is key. Just ask your bones. It's key.
Yeah. That's
so
why you need to drink your milk. Yep.
Right. You remember Gary Shanley?
I do. Yeah.
He died of this because he refused to get help.
Really?
What this is, if you have it in your body for 20 years, you can die. And he died of a heart attack that was brought on by that. I had this in my body. They said probably 11 or 12 years.
No,
I'm going to tell you some things that you probably didn't know, Dave. One, during that time, during that time, 10 years, I gained 100 pounds. People will say, well, because you're just big fat pig, Dave, and you just like to eat. Well, I did like to eat. The problem was it snuffed out everything of metabolism that I had in my body.
Yeah. I've heard that happens.
The second thing is I began to get chronic fatigue. I felt tired all the time. I felt bad. Towards the end, I could barely put one foot in front of the other without hurting. They were going to check me for my mind because I was having almost dementia type episodes. I was somebody that dealt with depression and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm just putting down the things that I had. I had bone pain, insomnia. But one of the things that started to happen was I got kidney stones. So I had kidney episodes.
Yeah. I remember that.
I had several kidney episodes, and I had kidney stone surgery. I got prostate issues, and the list goes on and on and on. And what the doctors were doing were treating the symptom. And I finally got into I was having heart palpitations as well. And it also does some stuff to your liver. Interesting, since I'm just going through some liver issues myself right now.
Yeah.
And so I was going to my urologist, and everybody loves going to their urologist, right?
It's just about like an eye doctor.
Yeah. They thought I had bladder cancer. So they did bladder, they did a cystoscope, did all that kind of stuff. Nothing. They said I was too by the book in all my symptoms. And that was kind of strange. So my urologist, and it was like 4 days before we were supposed to go to Disneyland as a family. And I was just sick, and I had a kidney stone, and it was lodged. Now, have you had a kidney stone before, Dave?
No, I have not.
Okay. So kidney stone, when it gets stuck, I mean, there's so much pain. It makes you feel sick and all that.
I've heard that it's one of the worst pains you can go through.
Well, for me, boy, it was not fun. So I went, and he said, well, we need to take some tests. So scanned, and there's a kidney stone. He said, so here's the deal. I can go in today and take the kidney stone out, or you can go to Florida right now and be miserable. I decided, let's have the surgery now.
Come on.
And then we went to Florida. We were able to make changes. Okay. So that went by. When I got back, though, I had more issues, way more issues. And so he says, I've been thinking about you, Dave. And see, here's the thing. We've been praying for healing and all kinds of things in my body, going, Lord, help us, help me. Mm-hmm. And as I went that last time, he said, I think I might know what it is. So he took some tests, and then I had to do some other things. He says, yep, your calcium level is so high, it's off the chart. So what was happening was calcium was leaving my bones and going into my vital organs. That's what hyperparathyroidism does.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
So it was dumping that. So, they're surprised I don't have more bone and bone issues. And that's, I'm thankful that I have good, healthy bones. That's good. So anyway, they said, that's what you have, hyperparathyroidism, and they need to go in and do surgery. You got a tumor on one of your parathyroids. So they told me there that I got a call, and they said that they can do a 4 to 8 hour exploratory surgery on me. 4 to 8 hours. That's a long time, Dave, on a surgery.
Yes, it is.
For some reason, I didn't take that as a yes. And I started to look online, and then I got connected with somebody who was part of my college ministry back in Kansas. She had gone through the same thing, and I was looking at this doctor down in Tampa, and she said that's where I went, and she told me everything that she had. It was the sense of peace that you get when you finally start connecting the dots.
Yes.
And so we called down there, and they said, definitely, you're a candidate, and we need you to come down. We paid for it up front, which was awesome. And instead of a 4 to 8 hour, I went down there, and I went on. It was a Monday morning, and they put me out. They checked all the parathyroids, and they found one tumor again, the size of my thumb. They said it was one of the largest ones they've ever taken out of somebody. I'm like, oh, great. And at that time, I was probably weighing close to 400 pounds. I could not jump. I could not do anything. It was terrible. And we stayed down there. So it was 25-minute surgery, Dave. And after about an hour and a half of recovery, I got on the bus. They took us to our hotel, and I slept the rest of the afternoon. I woke up about 4 o'clock at night, and we were down at Tampa, and it was so beautiful. My wife she's a trooper. I mean, she just, our wives aren't they?
Yeah. Oh man. And
honey, I love you. You're great. And she's down there soaking in the sun and concerned with me. How am I going to do? I woke up, and for the first time, Dave, I went downstairs with her. We sat outside by the palm trees, and something felt different inside of me. And I went downstairs, and we were waiting for her family to come by. They were going to come by and see us. And I jumped for the first time in probably 7-8 years.
Really?
Now, it measured on the Richter scale when I came back down, but I jumped.
I was going to say, I think I felt that.
You did. You did. It started as tsunami. So anyway, But let me tell you, the next day I was walking through Epcot.
Wow.
Now I was sore, and I still have, Mark, they cut me right through in the front of your throat. But then that has brought me to the place of where now I have some liver issues, and I just gone through some really bad situations, but it's turning out really good, and I'm thankful for that. But that's why I celebrated. I think a few podcasts ago, I told you that I just celebrated my 80th pound that I lost.
That's
I have
great.
70 more pounds to go. I'm able to do that because my metabolism's coming back. I'm able to work out. I'm able to move. I'm able to walk. I'm able to do all these kinds of things. And so I'm on that journey now back to good health. And it's taking time, but I'm so grateful to God that, one, he can heal somebody like you.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to go through those years, and you don't have, he just healed you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Our listeners need to know God works in several ways. And
Sure.
for me, I'm not envious that he didn't do that in me. I'm grateful that I had to even go through that process. I didn't want to, but I went through it, and it produced so much more character in me and trust in God.
Yeah.
And now today, I just, I've been able to help and minister to other people who's going through the same stuff. And I'm so grateful that God uses the medical field.
Yeah, absolutely.
Use my urologist to figure out something that, so how incredible is that?
That's an awesome story. Well, Jesus in the Bible didn't heal the same way every time.
No.
Some blind people would come to him and he healed instantly. One blind person, he came and touched him, and he says, "Okay, tell me what you see." And he says, "Things are really blurry. As a matter of fact, men are walking around, they look like trees." Jesus said, "Okay, we're not done yet." He heals some instantly, he heals some gradually, and some people die.
Yeah.
So, every story is there for a reason.
Yeah.
And my story happened for a reason. Your story happened for a reason. And it's exciting to see when those purposes come to fruition. So,
and Dave, there's people that, like you say, some have died. I've had family members, you've had family members that have died of disease, cancer, heart, whatever. And we've prayed. And just because you're faith-filled people and you pray like that, and you say, well, God didn't love them or didn't love us because he didn't answer our prayer. They died. Well, what people need to understand that as a Christian, death, we're all going to die one day.
Yeah.
But death is our graduation into the eternal life.
Amen.
And this podcast is not meant to preach. It's not a Bible study. It's not a political show. We're bringing God into all aspects of the life of life. I believe we're living in a culture where people are tired. They're sick and tired of trying everything that the world's offering them. And we're just telling you, we don't know it all. And we have room for growth in our life, but there's nothing like serving Jesus Christ.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And if there's an issue that you're really needing God to undertake in, we prayed for you earlier. But if you want to go to our Facebook page, 2 Days Podcast, you can let us know what struggle you're going through. Or maybe there's been something that God has helped you with and you want to record that. We'd love to read those things.
Yes. This is the exciting thing about the podcast. We really don't know what the future holds for us. We're just going to keep doing this. And we know there will be haters out there. That's okay. We're not doing it for that. We're just being obedient, and we're having a good time doing this. And we're not ashamed to declare the good things of Jesus Christ.
That's right. And as always, if you enjoyed this podcast, and even if you didn't, we ask you to subscribe or share this podcast with your friends. So until next time, remember that 2 Daves are always better than one.
See you next time.